calling the joint agenda between Health Human Services Committee and Judiciary 10:30 calendar. Present with me is myself as Chair of Health Human Services, Chair of Judiciary, Senator Rhodes, Senator Gabbard, Vice Chair of Judiciary, and Senator
Elefante.
It's
okay.
Monday
I
morning.
get confused with all of different senators, so it's okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Okay, first up. Okay, hold on, excuse me, I gotta read my script. Usually do the 1 o'clock agenda. This meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. In the unlikely event that we have to abruptly end this hearing due to technical difficulties, the committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding businesses. Today, Monday, March 25th, 1 p.m. in room 225. Your audio will be muted for those on Zoom and video disabled until shortly before it is your turn to testify. Each testifier will have 1 minute to testify. I run my meetings pretty tight. If there is a technical glitch during your time to testify, we may have to move on to the next person due to time constraints. I will be reading a list of individuals who submitted written testimony for each measure. We apologize if the closed captioning does not accurately transcribe the names. If you're interested in reviewing the written testimony, please go to the legislator's website. You will find a link on the status page for the measure. We appreciate your understanding and remind you that the committee does have your testimony that reviewed them, so I encourage you to use your time to either add additional comments or you can stand on your written testimony. Also present with me is my Vice Chair, Senator Aquino. So first up, SCR 14, urging the members of Hawaii's congressional delegation to monitor the Alliance for Hippocratic Medicine versus the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and take action to limit the case from further restricting access to safe abortion options. First up, we have for SCR 14, Aloha Care in support. Are you present? Next up, we don't have any registered testifiers, but I'm just reading you written testimony. Democratic Party of Hawaii in support. Hawaii Caucus, Women's Caucus of the Democratic Party of Hawaii in support. Leah McCrae in support. Dara Yatsuhiro in opposition. Christy De Saucedo in support. Christy Ajimine in opposition. Anybody else wishing to testify on SCR 14? Members, nobody to ask questions of, so we are gonna move on. Next up, SCR 135, SR 122, urging the governor's senior advisor for mental health and the justice system to define their role and to provide an annual report to the legislature on the progress the state has made towards jail diversion. First up, we have John Mizuno testifying for statewide office on homelessness and housing solution, providing comments. Next up, we have Department of Human Services in support. Next up, we have Department of Health in opposition. Come on up.
Good morning, chairs. Marian Tsuji for the Department of Health. We'll stand on our written testimony in opposition. We feel that the SCR is not necessary to achieve its means. Do you have any questions?
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Alan Johnson, Hawaii Substance Abuse Coalition, providing comments. Proceed, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, good morning, the chairs, vice chairs, and members. My name is Alan Johnson. I'm Hawaii Substance Abuse Coalition. I think the first step for us is to redesign our process. We've never had a comprehensive plan that with multiple state departments willing to all work together to redesign their process. That's never ever happened that I know of in my 30 years, and now that's what we're looking at right here. And Dr. Champion is one of the experts on process analysis, so he's the one to kind of lead. And we want to design a comprehensive system because we haven't really identified that yet or what that is. So we have something for the mild and the moderate, and then something for the most chronic. And the most chronic, they're very few, they're very expensive. So you need to have crisis beds to evaluate, stabilize. You got to have supportive housing. Case management is so important. But if you want long-term recovery, there's only one treatment that works, and that's residential co-occurring substance abuse treatment center. So you need all these places working together, but you got to redesign the system so they all funnel into that to get the most out of we can for those who have the need. So
Thank you very much, Mr.
thank
Johnson.
you. Thank you.
Okay, also present, we have Senator Keohokalole and we have Senator Awa. Next up, who have registered to testify, we have Opportunity Youth Action Hawai'i providing comments. We have Hawaii Youth Correctional Facility, Department of Human Services and Strong Support. Next, we have the governor, I think. From the Office of the Governor, I don't know who in the Office of the Governor, providing comments. Okay, so you didn't sign your testimony, but please come on up.
Thank you. Good morning. Chair San Buenaventuras, Chair Rhodes, Vice Chair Gabbard, Vice Chair Aquino, and members. Thank you for the opportunity to testify, and I'll just make brief comments.
Please identify yourself.
Oh, excuse me. Thank you. I'm Dr. Michael Champion, the Senior Advisor for Mental Health in the Justice System from the Governor's Office. Thank you for the opportunity to meet Chair San Buenaventura and Chair Rhodes last week and discuss the role of the Senior Advisor. I've included those details in the written testimony for the benefit of the other members of the committee. Just a few comments, I think, that guide the go forward. This type of systems work by its very nature is collaborative. It will need to involve multiple agencies, all three branches of government working together, the counties and the community. And in our meetings last week.
So Dr. Champion, I'm sorry, we'll probably ask you questions, but your 1 minute is up right now.
Okay.
Okay, we're just going through and then we're gonna ask you to come on up, back up for questions. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next up, Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation providing comments. Office of Wellness and Resilience providing comments. Department of Human Services, Director providing comments. Judiciary providing comments. Are you up?
Good morning, Chair. We're here to share our observations regarding Dr. Champion. So if there's any questions, we're here to ask.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up, we have again, somebody, this is John Mizuno, who we've talked about, Department of Health. And that's it. Anybody else wishing to testify on SCR 135, SR 122? Members, any questions? Okay, you can, okay, Senator Keohokalole first and then, then
Department of
Chair
Health.
Rhodes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if it was late, but I didn't see your testimony. Can you briefly summarize what the opposition to the resolution is?
The department felt that the resolution's means could be achieved without the SCR.
Okay, thank
We're
you.
working together, and we've been here doing testimony together and are already collaborating.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll yield, but I have a follow-up for Dr. Champion after.
Yeah, I do too. Well, I will follow up. Okay, Chair Rhodes.
I'm sorry, Deputy, or whoever's talking for Department of Health. So in terms of sort of the
the chain of command, I guess you would call it. I mean, I'm assuming that you answer to Dr. Fink,
Yes,
and then you in turn, you respond to the governor. Is that, I mean, that would be the normal way to look at it, I guess. Is that fair to say? Yeah, you can come on up if you don't mind. That'd be. I mean, you have cabinet meetings and everything, so he's the boss ultimately, correct?
So we all are one team working for the governor. You know, Mary and I, we take a very collaborative approach, but ultimately our direction comes from the governor's positions. Yes.
Okay, so Dr. Champion works directly in the governor's office. Is there a formal, I mean, when you sort of routine day-to-day stuff, when you answer to the governor, do you talk to Dr. Champion, or you just you wait to a cabinet meeting and talk to him and talk to Gov directly?
So communications with Dr. Champion typically would occur separately outside of cabinet meetings as needed for work. So oftentimes with the Department of Health having its statute with the responsibility for mental health within its capacity, sort of that's our focus within our statutory mandate. I think the real role in having someone at the governor's office is to help with coordination that crosses either departments or branches of government. So that's that extra value.
Okay, so in terms of internally, you don't view Dr. Champion as sort of in the chain of command. He's an advisor as opposed to someone that you need to answer to.
I believe as he speaks for the governor, to the extent that that's he's communicating the governor's policy, and essentially we're all agents of the governor, but as a senior advisor to the governor, if he's more closely either informing or communicating the governor's intent and vision, then in speaking on behalf of the governor, our role is to follow the direction of the governor and advance the governor's policies.
Okay. Just one quick comment then. I mean, I think probably the reason I signed this reso is because it's just frustration. I mean, a number of us at this table have been working on mental health issues and their relationship with the judiciary, and just a systematic approach for quite some time. And I'm not saying there hasn't been any progress, but it certainly is. It just feels glacial. So I think we're trying to figure out what the roles are, and that's hence the line of questioning. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, so for you, I have questions and then we'll open it up again probably for others. I know you folks are in opposition. And you said basically it's not necessary, but the reality was at the informational briefing, the data you provided showed that you don't have much data. A 1% success rate shows that the law diversion program that the governor, back when he was a state representative, was pushing for as part of a task force almost 20 years ago is failing. So is it the governor's, but then the governor's advisor at the time of the informational briefing provided the sequential model showing how great it is. Is it your position that since he is not necessary, who's supposed to gather the data? Because the rest of us don't believe it's failing. Otherwise, we wouldn't be funding Department of Human Services triage programs. We wouldn't be funding your request for behavioral health centers. We wouldn't be funding the judiciary's request for more diversion services. For 20 years now. Who is supposed to gather the data if you're saying that he's not needed?
Senator, I think that the data that you're talking about is about a specific program that looks at post-booking diversion.
No, I am not. I am asking for, back in 2006, the legislator at that time, House Health Chair was now the governor back then it was Representative Green. Health chair for the Senate was Senator Ross Baker. They convened a task force pursuant to an SCR referring to jail diversion. It did not speak of a specific program. It predated the SAMHSA's sequential intercept model that Dr. Champion keeps talking about, and that the judiciary's testimony, I think, refers to. So it predated that. So who is supposed to collect the data that followed from that task force that referred to community resources that since then the legislature has been funding pursuant to such task force?
I believe that each of the programs that are overseeing each of those community
So is the
groups,
Department of Health's Kuleana?
part of it is.
Then why was it that you only provide us with a 1% success rate back at the informational briefing?
I believe that that was the specific program that we were talking about. Jail diversion can consist of many different types of interventions, and the one that we were talking about was very specific.
Who was supposed to collect data for, because jail diversion is not only post-booking, which you folks referred to, but also pre-arrest diversion. And I referred to that at the time of the informational briefing, because when I first got in the legislature, the legislature funded pre-arrest diversion through the Child Project. And we paid, because that was one of my bills, Ohana zones, we paid at least $500,000 for pre-arrest, pre-booking jail diversion. So who's supposed to collect all that data?
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that program.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions to follow up?
Dr.
Senator
Champion,
Kehokalole.
please.
Dr. Champion.
So, Dr. Champion, the briefing that was mentioned in the resolution that we're talking about now took place about 7 weeks ago. After the briefing, the health chair and I and others drafted a letter to your office asking for specific types of data to be presented in a format that was consistent with the format that was presented by the Department of Health, so that we could have a more comprehensive understanding of the needs in this space. You committed to provide it. The response letter we got contained none of the data asked for in the format in which we asked for it. So my question is, it's been 7 weeks. You've obviously seen the message that was sent by this resolution being introduced, and now it's being heard, and I was assuming that you would have provided it in the testimony for this resolution. When can we see it?
Yeah, thank you, Senator. What I'm tracking is that there's an intense interest on the very specific parts.
So when can we see it?
If I understood correctly, you're interested and other people are interested in an array of programs, the capacities, the areas that are PUCAs, and plans to fill that in, and what's going to be needed to accomplish that. And one of the things that we discussed.
So I mean, respectfully.
Yes, sir.
We asked you in the briefing, we asked you in the letter, now I've asked you 2 different times in the hearing.
Yes.
And it was made, I thought, pretty clear in the briefing and in the letter that what we wanted to see was a holistic
Yes.
accounting of where the resources were and where they weren't by your office, because you said that was your kuleana. And now here we are. And can we see it before the end of the legislative session so that we can make some financial decisions?
Yes, so if I can.
So we can see it before the end of the legislative session.
What I wanted to respond is that I believe, if I remember correctly, you asked about a chart that's showing an array of how you approach addressing the programmatic needs. And in the letter that I and others in our office generated, we talked about that array.
Yeah, you
gave
talked about
example-
it, but you didn't provide the data.
Yes,
So I'm
and what we-
asking for the data.
Yes, I understand. And what I outlined in the letter, and then also had an opportunity to talk to the chairs about, is the very nature of this collaborative work is working with others to generate that information, and it takes time. It takes time,
So
it
how
takes
much time do you need?
collaboration.
Now I've asked you 4 times in the hearing. Before or after the session is done?
What we can provide, I believe, during this session is looking at the active bills that are going on now, the budget that's been proposed, some of the major programmatic pukas, and come together to give you a coordinated response that's going to support your decision-making during this session. I don't think it's possible to generate the full holistic array in a short order of time. And what I committed to before, at least described in terms of Kuleana as the senior advisor for the governor and in the governor's office, is to work across agencies and the counties and the communities on an ongoing effort to generate the kind of information.
So before the start of the next session?
The intention, and I believe I put that in my letter, was to communicate, or at least when we were meeting with the chairs, is to spend the time after.
Okay. So I'm going to stop you there because it's my question, and I feel like I'm allowing you the opportunity to dodge the question, and it's very frustrating.
Apologize, son.
We asked for data, we asked it to be generated in a format consistent with one of the other agencies that is tasked with this work so that we could appropriately compare apples and oranges, and it feels like you are ducking us.
Apologize,
And so
if that's
it's
the impression.
frustrating.
That's not my intention, Senator
Well,
Avalon.
so I'm not going to belabor the point, but there was a pretty specific request made. And I'm once again asking that it be honored
Yes, sir.
respectfully.
Thank
you.
Yes, yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Chair.
If I may, what I communicate.
I yield to the chair.
Okay, thank you very much.
May I make a comment, Chair, on point with that?
Okay, let's make it short because we have a lot of questions.
Very much so. When we met, what I committed to is working very closely with the legislature on getting information as it becomes available in real time and sharing that, and committing to, in the time after the legislative session, to do this collaborative work.
Okay.
And bring forward information for the legislature that I
Thank
think
you.
is on point and responsive.
You know what, we have a short time, so stick around, we got plenty of questions. Chair Rhodes, did you have more?
Not for Dr. Champion, for the judiciary, if you don't mind. So as I think everybody in this room is aware, the dealing with mental health issues is a multi-agency process, and judiciary is involved because a lot of oftentimes mentally ill people are charged with crimes. And I know that Chief Justice Rechtenwald has been active in this space, and I'm curious, when you're dealing with it, especially the part that most affects you, which is sort of the intersection between mental health and the legal system, who do you talk to? Do you talk to Dr. Champion in the governor's office? Do you talk to the Department of Health, DHS? How do you deal with the interaction of the different agencies that are involved?
Morning, Chair.
Okay, sorry.
Members of the committee. Rod Miley, Administrative Director of the courts. Short answer is we work collaboratively with all of our partners, including the prosecutors, public defenders, HPD. And it is a collaborative approach, and it depends. If it's specifically part of our responsibilities, then we'll take the lead. If we're part of a larger task force or working group, our job is to support that as it relates to the entire continuum of care.
Okay, so, I mean, you're in a separate branch of government, so you respond to CJ if he's the one who drives it if he wants to.
Yes.
The executive branch agencies are responding to governor ultimately. Is Dr. Champion, I mean, you talked to Dr. Champion too, in terms of what to do, but it just feels like there's no,
Data gathering.
there's maybe no data gathering, but in addition, but it also feels like there's no one to sort of say, okay, here's what we're gonna do. DHS, you do that, DOH, you do that, Judiciary, you do this. Is that the role that you envision for Dr. Champion, as someone who would be, not an enforcer exactly, but someone whose advice would be followed?
That was our understanding, and for those activities where Dr. Champion is the lead, speaking on behalf of the governor, we participated with that understanding, that he's directing that particular.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thanks,
Okay,
Chair.
any other questions of Rod Miley? Because I do. So I saw the report attached to Dr. Champion's response to our request for data. And all I saw was from Judiciary, the number of referrals to Department of Health. I did not see any referrals to Department of Human Services or any other agencies, but only to Department of Health, which according to them has only a 1% success rate, which basically, if what Dr. Champion and you folks are saying, we are putting money into a money pit, which right now we don't believe, because you folks, the Judiciary, I see the Breaking Cycle Symposium with the Dr. Champion, you folks have been basically telling us that this is the way to go, that we need to put in money into resources. But with a 1% success rate, with the millions of dollars we have put in for 2 decades, that's a money pit. And so my question is to the Judiciary. I was also there at the time when the Supreme Court had Dr. Leifman from Miami-Dade. That is a Judiciary-run project. Is the Judiciary taking any data or active role, other than referring to the Department of Human Services, to do any kind of jail diversion?
We are keeping track, and the other purpose for me being here this morning was to let the committee know that to the extent the Judiciary has the data that the committees are interested in, we'll provide that to the best of our ability.
Okay, so all the data I got was post-booking, and all I got was a referral to to Department of Health, which means the Judiciary, despite all of the symposiums we have been going to, have not been taking into account the community resources that the task force has referred to, and the types of county, like core, DHS's, IHS's, services that is available. And that to me is super disappointing, because for nearly 2 decades, and I've only been a legislator for less than half of that. Any other questions? Seeing none, moving on. We're ready for decision making?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, first up. So for SR 14, Chair's recommendation is to pass as is. Any
SCR 14?
SCR
Okay,
14.
okay.
Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Okay, SCR 14, recommendation of the chairs to pass as is. Chair?
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Keokalole.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro. It's excused. Senator Alwa. It's excused. Recommendation is adopted, Chair.
Okay, sorry.
Same recommendation for JDC. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
On SCR 14, to pass as is, Chair votes.
Aye.
Vice Chair votes no. Senator Elefante.
Aye.
Senator San Buenaventura.
Aye.
Senator Owa. Excused, the measure passes.
Okay, for SCR 135, SR 122, Chair is going to pass with amendments. We are going to accept some of Senator Rhodes' amendments, which is to add in a whereas the senior advisor, whereas the uniqueness and importance of having a position in the governor's office that is dedicated to mental health and the justice system comma, the senior advisor is the de facto lead
Okay.
on mental health and the justice system initiatives for the state. And we're going to request that the senior advisor, or whereas, we're going to request that the senior advisor regularly brief the Health and Human Services chairs and include, do we
It's
have a
probably-
working group? We don't have a working group. Okay, excuse me, we're going to put in to the reports that is requested in the resolution, we're going to ask the senior advisor to include in suggested legislation and any proposed amendments to the mental health code review pursuant to SB 2992 that is still moving.
So,
I'm sorry, I changed it.
so that's fine. No, I was just, I had another,
You wanted to put in the senior advisor is the lead, but there is no testimony that he's the lead.
well, we could request that.
We can, that's why I put in he's the de facto lead.
Okay, that's fine. The other suggestion I had was, per the HCSOC testimony, add language to request that 2 annual reports be made public.
Yes, gonna put that in. Could you mention that?
So one of the therefore be it resolved would be add language to request that the 2 annual reports are made publicly available.
Okay, thank you very much. Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, well, you know what, let me make a comment. And the comment is, well, we have voiced our disappointment because you have been in your position for a year, and your written testimony refers to data, and we have seen no data. And the people who have testified regarding jail diversion, Department of Health, and the judiciary have provided scant data. So it's not that we're asking for real-time data, that would be good, but any past data would be wonderful, because if you're only showing a 1% success, it doesn't make sense for the legislator to be pouring in tens of millions of dollars into a policy that for the past 2 decades shows a failure rate of 99%. So, any comments, questions, concerns?
Well,
Seeing none?
I would just comment that it's not clear to me that we are funding our mental health programs adequately. So it may be that we have failures that maybe a specific program needs to be rethought if it's that unsuccessful. But I don't see this, I don't see the mental health system as being awash with money. So that's just a comment. I'm not asking you to put it in anywhere, but I'm not sure we're spending enough money on mental health. In fact, I'm quite sure we're not spending enough money on mental health.
And I agree with Sandra Rhodes, but we don't have the data as to where the
Where to put it,
capacities
yeah.
are and where to put the money. Okay, having a sequential model and an outline is wonderful, but unless you fill in the pukas as to where the programs that we are funding goes to, we don't know where to fund. Any comments, questions, concerns? Pass with amendments? Any other? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote, Chair votes aye.
Okay, SCR 135, SR 122, recommendation of the chairs to pass with amendments. Chair?
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Kolole?
Aye.
Chair Shimbukuro?
Aye.
Recommendation is adopted, Chair.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
for judiciary
Sorry.
on SCR 135 and SR 122, we'll vote on them together. Same recommendation. Questions or concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair.
Chair Rhodes?
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Elafante?
Aye.
Senator San Buenaventura?
Aye.
Senator Awam? Excused, measure passes.
Okay, thank you. We are adjourned.